baby, plug the beat, trim.
Gotta save the young minds, because we running out of time. You gotta get up out that line, because we running out of time.
We gotta shape the young minds, we gotta let them know that it's the time. And if you got some barriers, gotta break them barriers down. And it's okay to lose yourself, just know that you can be found. And if you ever wanted hope, just be the hope you want in town. I know this life can be hard and it can leave a sad frown, but you gotta watch your dreams, you gotta bring them inbound. You some kings and you some queens, you gotta fix your gold crown. Never worry about the haters, leave them in the wrong crowd, wrong crowd. We gotta shape the young minds, because we running out of time. We gotta shape the young minds, because we running out of time. You gotta get up off that line, because we running out of time. We gotta shape the young minds. Artist, and today we'll be interviewing two guests today. Our first guest will be Mr. Elvis Slaughter. He is the author of his new book, Preschool to Prison, which is basically offers phenomenal answers to questions and issues relating to risk factors and problem behavior in children and in teenagers. And so I actually read your article, Mr. Slaughter, and then a question that came to my mind was, what solutions do you think will cause a positive effect of the youth who suffers from childhood trauma? Because we do know that children who often become preschool to prisons in a way, they all do, well, often some of them all experience some type of childhood trauma. So how can we cause it, like how can we create a solution that can cause a positive effect to that?
There are numerous ways that you could have a positive solution to trauma. The best way is to start early as possible in life with that child. Between the age of 1 to 7, those are the best time to treat any trauma in a child, because once the child turns 8 years old, it becomes very difficult. In other words, that you look around Chicago right now, you got individuals 10 to 12 doing carjacking. And in my opinion, the reason why those kids are doing those type of crime is because they never had that type of therapy or the right resources between the age of 1 to 7. And so in order to, like I say, to create a solution, you have to treat them early in life, and you have to make sure that they get the right treatment, the right therapy. Because when you start seeing early aggression in these children in preschool and in first grade, according to researchers, 90% of those individuals will wind up in prison or commit some type of crime in their lifetime. So like I say, the best time is start early in life and have the best resources available. You can't take all the kids out of the environment. That'd be the ideal solution, to put them in the right environment or a better environment, but that is almost impossible. So you have to like deal with the environment that they are in. You have to do all you can, what you can, and give them 150% of what you can do for them, because you're not gonna save all the children. That's impossible. But the goal is to try to save as many of these children as you can. Like I say, you gotta start early. And if you don't start early, the job will get tougher and tougher and tougher. And not only when they 12 commit crimes, they're gonna be 16 committed crimes. If you go to some of these high schools right now, they would tell you some of these kids are very uncontrollable because they never had that proper resource or therapy between the age of 1 to 7.
Yes, so actually, you actually brought me to my second question when you said the environment. We do understand that oftentimes with the youth, when it comes down to dealing with childhood trauma, it is often caused because of the environment that they are in. So actually, my second question was, how can we create a safe environment for the youth to reach their best potential? Because it's in research that we can see that a lot of kids that's in, like good Ivy League schools, when they get when they in the environment to do better, they can be better, So, but it's not that easy for the the black culture. So, how can we create like a
a great environment so that we can, like our youth and the people that's that's under us, can reach their best potential?
Well, it's called trusted adults. Our children need what you call trusted adults, someone to mentor them. And we have to start early with our young ladies and our young men before they become teenagers. We have to train them on how to live life properly. Once you have trusted adults, then you'll be able to go to someone and be able to trust someone, and they can give you the right advice. For example, when you were having issues maybe in school or with the streets or whatever, if you had someone you could go to and talk to and tell you which route to take or what to do or what not to do, that would have been very useful and helpful for you. But a lot of these young kids, they don't have that. They are being told what to do, how to do it by the same individual who are out here committing these crimes.
Yeah, and it's kind of great that you did say that, because like I'm finna be 21 next month, and I'm not gonna say like I'm like this old person, but I've been through a lot in my life where I've been through a lot, and it's like a lot of things that I've been through, I went through basically because I needed to see it for myself. I didn't really had nobody there say like, oh, like don't do this because I did it this way. And a lot of times my mom, she might watch this, but she tell me all the time like I went through this so that you wouldn't have to do it. And we often kind of got into situations because I was that type of person where I had to figure it out on my own. Like I had to see it for myself. And that's how a lot of youth and a lot of kids is today, is like sometimes they can have that help even in their own house, but sometimes they have to experience it for themselves, and that's how a lot of times a lot of kids go to from preschool to prison, is because their mentality, like sometimes they can have all the right resources, but sometimes childhood trauma, it can be so foreign to the person where that they can literally be experiencing it and really will not even know that they still experience it. So I do agree with you that like sometimes like I wish I had that, because I did a lot of things that maybe I kind of regret now, because I never had nobody tell me like, like don't do this, do that, or like if I did it, you can do it too. And actually this brings me to my last question and it is talking about like therapy and counseling. We did talk a little bit before the show, and it was that in the black culture, therapy is often used as like, it's like a negative vendetta around it. And for my question is to you is do you think that the black culture do have a negative vendetta on therapy? And if so, how can we evolve from that? Like how can we change? How can we make a difference?
Well, to say there's a vendetta against it, it's difficult to answer that question. I could say this is that depending on where you're living at, it might appear to be that way. For example, if you live in an area where it's poverty, a lot of crime, you might experience that. But if you live in a middle-class black community where most of the young blacks are going to college, they are getting therapy. And so it's difficult to answer that question. I'll give you a good example. My family migrated from Holiday, Mississippi. I was born on a plantation. We moved here in the 60s, and I lived on the west side of Chicago. We had trauma. I seen people get killed. Then we moved to Roseland. I saw the same thing. Then, before Roseland, it was Inglewood. And all that I experienced, death in the family, brother getting killed, sister getting killed, I never had any therapy. We didn't know anything about therapy. And when you say like, there go Crazy Earl, we thought that was normal, that he was acting a certain way. Right. Now, if Earl or anyone else would have got the proper treatment early in life, I strongly believe that Earl and myself and many other family members would not have suffered as much as we have done. But just because you don't get therapy doesn't mean that you're not going to survive. Now, even though I went through all that, I was still able to have a good career with the sheriff department, retired as a superintendent. I went and got my master's degree. I have 3 adult children, one was a doctor. And so even though I didn't have that therapy, somehow, from the grace of God, I still survive, and I make sure that my children, when they was young, that they did get the therapy and did make a difference when they had trauma or they have some type of stress in their life. I make sure that they got what I didn't get.
Yeah, and I just really like that you did say that, and I just really just want any person that's watching this TV show today to understand that if you have dealt with any type of childhood trauma, please try and reach out and try to get help. There's nothing wrong with it. Mental illness is a big problem that we do have in society today and in our black culture. So if you experienced it or know anybody that do experience it, please reach out and just try to get help.
I would like to add something. There are some early warning signs to children that have trauma that might have tendency to go into criminal behavior. So if you see those early warning signs, that's the key right there, to get help and get it right away. And don't be afraid. Go to the school counselor. If you're in college, go to the college counselor. Get help.
This is like my very first experiment doing something like this, and I really enjoy it. I really learned from you, and I really learned from you, and I just want y'all to know that, like, even as a young person right now, like, the words and the kind words that you spoke with me today, it will not go. It didn't go in one ear out the other. I promise you, I will take those words, and I will run with it. And just for anybody just watching, like, there's nothing wrong with being around wise people. You are who you hang around. And if you want to be successful, hang around successful people. If you want to be broke, you're going to be broke. And the way inflation going right now, we don't got time to be broke. Like, we all need to be money and successful. But I just want to thank everybody for watching the Shaping Your Minds TV show. Like I said, my name is John Parker, but I'm also known as Menace, and I'm becoming knowledge. So thank you for having me.
Just know that you can be.
Thank you.
Outstanding job. Outstanding job. Please.
I know this life can be hard and it can leave a sad frown, but you gotta watch your dreams, you gotta bring them inbound. Some kings and you some queens, you gotta fix a gold crown. Never worry about the haters, leave them in the wrong crowd. We gotta shape the young minds, because we running out of time. We gotta shape the young minds, because we running out of time. You gotta get up off that line, because we running out of time.